Hello class, welcome to Unit 3.4, Interpreting Graphs. Okay, let's take a look at example 1, working with describing real-world graphs. So this graph to the right is showing the heights of a roller coaster during a single ride. So what we want to do is describe the roller coaster ride. Well, when we take a look at here, pay attention to our y-axis, which is height, and this is over time that we're on the roller coaster. So it looks like we're going to start here at time 0, where it's going to take us out there flat, probably leaving, the stand where we get on the ride. We're going to take up that first hill, which also seems to be like our tallest hill. And then we're going to kind of come back down. We got that drop to the bottom and almost immediately start coming up another hill. And when we get to the top of that hill, looks like we're going to drop a little bit steeper almost. And then we're going to kind of flatten out for a little bit. Then we're going to go up the third hill and take one last drop. And then it looks like we're going to kind of go steady, probably back to the beginning of the ride. Now the trick is to get all of that into text. So let's kind of put together a sentence and talk about that. So taking a second to put that all in words, the roller coaster starts off staying the same height and climbs up the hill and then drops back to the same height we started. It immediately starts back up a second hill and then drops even faster than the first. It stays steady and goes up a third hill, which is a nice steady drop, and then takes us at a steady height to the end of the ride. So everybody should have something similar to that. May not be in those exact words, but should describe relatively the same actions throughout that ride. So that's kind of taking a graph and putting words. Let's take a look at some examples where it gives us words and we want to write out the graph. Okay, so let's sketch a graph given each scenario. So example 2 says, in a single day, it snowed lightly during the morning, then heavily for the rest of the day. Graph time on the x-axis and total snowfall amount on the y-axis. All right, so there we go. First thing we want to do is make sure we get our x-axis time and our y-axis total snowfall. So it looks like we're starting off the day, again, remember, back here at 0, and looks like it's going steady for the morning. So if we're just going to kind of come up here very steadily to about halfway through the day, and then in the afternoon, it goes heavily the rest of the day. So we want to make sure that there's a pretty distinct jump in our graph for the second part. So that would kind of look something like that. So let's take a look at 3. Mia bought a painting. The value of the painting dropped by 25% after 1 year, then increased in value over the next 5 years, which resulted in reaching a value that was twice what she had paid for it. Graph time on the x-axis and the value of the painting on the y-axis. So once again, we make sure we get our time on the x and value on the y. So this one here, it starts with some value, which we want to make sure drops about 25% in 1 year. So, okay, only about a fourth of the way down. Then we want to make sure over the next 5 years, so we can kind of picture a little like there's 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, something similar to that. And then end up being twice what she paid for it. So if we almost double that, that'd be something up there. That's where we want to kind of end our graph. So we could go from here, from year 1 to 5. That would end up almost doubling in the course of those 5 years. Okay, let's take a look and try a few of those on your own. All right, pause the video here and do 4 through 8. Before we go on and check our work. All right, so let's check them. Example 4 starts up here at a height. It looks like it's going to drop down, hit the bottom, come up to about halfway, and we're just kind of keep going halfway each time until basically it trickles out. All right. Okay, 5, looks like we're going to start way up here, really speeding. We're going to have to slow down to a stop. The cop's going to end up getting us for a little bit of time, and then we're going to increase back up to the speed limit for the rest of the ride. Number 6, talking about football game, counting up yards. Going to start at 0. Now, if we're going to go the first 6 games with the same amount of work, that's going to take us up very steadily. And then nothing for the rest of the season means we kind of just flatten out to finish the season. So in example 7, recording her distance, she's going to travel a block, stop for a little bit, travel a little bit more, stop to pick everyone up, travel a little bit more, stop, and basically kind of repeating this all the way till we get to school. In example 8, we're talking about working out. So our heart rate's going to start somewhere here at just a normal resting level. It's going to rapidly increase and then gonna just kind of stay flattened out during the run. Then it's kind of as he slows down to lift weights after running, we're gonna have a little bit of increase, decrease along the way till we kind of flatten back out at the end of our workout, back to normal. Okay, last thing we're going to be looking at doing is matching up some graphs based off their descriptions. So we got Carrie, Luke, and Mason receive the same allowance each month from their parents. Carrie spent a small amount of her money in the first half of the month, then spent the rest in the second half of the month. Luke steadily spent his money throughout the entire month, and Mason rapidly spent all of his month in the first half of the month. Match each child's spending with the correct graph below. All right, so if we look for Carrie, let's spending a small amount of money in the first half of the month and the rest in the second. Well, that one there looks like spent just a little bit in the first half, then really jumped up. So we're going to call that middle one Carrie. If we look at Luke, he is going to spend his money throughout the steadily spend it out. Well, here is our steady spending throughout the month. So this last one's going to be Luke. And then lastly, if we're talking about Mason rapidly spending, it's going to jump up real high there. And then kind of just nothing to spend for the rest of it. So Mason's going to end up being that first one. Okay, that's it for your notes and practice at this point. Make sure you complete the practice assignment in your modules. All right, good luck. Have a nice day.